Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Russell with the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, and this is another issue of Around the Lake. And we have Aaron Gore, Bevana. That's how you pronounce it, right?
Yes, sir, Bavana, but most of the people around the lake know us most from D9 Brewing Company.
D9. And tell me if I've got this right. Wasn't D9 started when Andrew and some of the stakeholders got together? Wasn't it kind of named after District 9?
That's the story they like to tell folks, is really what it is. There's a lot that went into it, and there was a lot of back and forth on the name, but really the name was chosen specifically because it could mean different things to different people, and that's really kind of been the attitude, is about being able to forge our own way, but still being able to reach out to consumers at whatever level they're at, because, you know, Lake Norman's got a whole lot of beer drinkers and a whole lot of people who love a whole lot of different things. If we're able to really work with them, that's the goal.
And Aaron, a lot of people do know here in the Cornelius, Davidson, Huntersville, Mooresville market, D9, but Bevana is a whole host of breweries, and not just breweries, I don't think. Explain a little bit about what Bevana is.
Yeah, so Bavana actually spun out of D9, and a lot of that was us just trying to figure out how we solve some of the problems that the beverage industry in general has. You know, the economics of it are a little upside down. It's extremely crowded, and it's hard. It's a very, very hard industry. You know, I know it feels like these brewers are rock stars making millions of dollars every time you see their beer on a grocery store shelf, but for a lot of them, they're small mom and pop businesses who got into this because they're really passionate about what they do, and getting that product to market is extremely difficult. So what we're able to help them do, and you know, this is the pathway that we discovered through doing it ourselves, we really help them access that market. We really help them be able to scale up beyond what they'd be able to do on their own, not just in the North Carolina area, but on a much wider footprint. We export to 4 countries. We're in 12 states right now, really expanding rapidly, and trying to just help other small beverage companies, whether it's beer or kombucha or, you know, CBD beverages or seltzers, coffee, be able to really help them grow to where their products should be able to grow, if only they didn't have to juggle everything from tap room yoga all the way into canning lines and wholesale distribution.
How many different businesses are comprised under the Bevana umbrella?
Yeah, so right now in the market, we got about 12 out there right now alone. And those are rolling out on a constant basis. So there's always new ones coming. We're more of a platform than we are anything else. So it's our goal to be able to really pave that way forward for as many companies as possible.
The founder of D9, of course, is Andrew. Do you want to talk about some of your key team members?
Well, I'm not sure I'd describe Andrew as a key team member. He was our founder and he's our CEO, but we're still trying to figure out what he does around the place. But no, so I am the Senior Director of Business Development. So I run all 5 of our tap rooms. I run our marketing departments. I run our e-commerce platform that's about to launch next week. So keep an eye out for that. I work with all the brands directly, help maintain those relationships, bring new ones into the fold. But we also have Levi Duncan. He's our master brewer, 10-time judge at the Great American Beer Festival, largest beer festival in the world, 1-time judge at the World Beer Cup, the most prestigious beer competition in the world. He actually did that this year. He's also got 3 degrees in brewing science. Guy's absolutely brilliant, and he's got the beard to prove it. If you're in this industry, you know, that's like rings on a tree. Every one of those, every inch is like several years worth of brewing skill. But aside from that, the other big one in the area I'd love to call out is just Jamar Valentine. He's a regional general manager. Most people in the industry know him from his time running the tap rooms for Noda Brewing, but he runs our 5 tap rooms alongside me and administers and works with and supports all the individual locational general managers, because we do know that those locations all do require that personal touch and somebody who really understands the needs of the customers there.
Let's bring it back down home to D9, because that's the one that we're familiar with here in North Mecklenburg. Tell us about some of the Tell us about some of the brands that are hosted under the D9 family.
Of course. Yeah, we definitely have the ones that everybody's kind of the most familiar with, and we really hung our hat on sours. That's really the category of beer that we built our name on, won our biggest awards on. Brewer's Day Off is probably our most popular one around the area. Perfect lakeside beer. It's a goza, so light, easy drinking, low alcohol sour made with cantaloupe and cucumber. So super refreshing. Perfect thing if you got like a pontoon boat out on Lake Norman, or if you're sitting poolside, depending on the rules of your local pool. It's definitely the go-to. We also have Carnivals, passion fruit sour, very bright, very festive. Whiskers on Kittens is our standard blonde sour, which is kind of the one that built the sour program for us. But we also do other stuff too. Brown Sugar Brown Cows, our coffee brown ale. It's been with us almost since the beginning. We also have Obi Hazy is our most recent launch. It's a hazy IPA. Anybody familiar with the beer scene knows that that's pretty much the big story in craft beer over the last 5 years has been the rise of the hazy IPA. And, we sure weren't going to let ourselves be passed up on that.
I'm going to pull up your website and share that. Real easy to follow, of course, under Bevana. Anything in particular you want to direct me to?
Well, if you scroll on down just a little bit, we got a video starring a really handsome gentleman. I have no idea who he is, but he's extremely well-spoken and really good-looking. But aside from that, we also have our tap room up in Newton, North Carolina. That's just outside of Hickory, up there with Bevana Newton. And right there are some of the partners that we're fortunate enough to work with. And if you do go to the site, starting next week, you're going to also have a link at the top for shopping. Take you to our e-commerce where you're able to have beer delivered directly to your door from any of our partners, including the ones you can't normally get in North Carolina, which is really cool.
Of course, and there's Andrew. Andrew serves on the board of Visit Lake Norman and been very involved with our Chamber of Commerce. Recently, I participated in our Leaders and Legends program for entrepreneurs. Tell me a little bit about how D9 got started.
Well, D9 got started. I'm gonna have to repeat the story and the myth of old that I've heard Andrew do so many times. But D9 really got started when Andrew and a few of his friends decided that they wanted to invest more in their community in a way that was tangible and that was very meaningful for them. For Andrew in particular, he was in a job that kept him traveling quite a bit. And the thing that he realized was that he knew the people at the hotel bars and the places that he visited with frequency better than he knew the people in his own neighborhood. And that was something that he wanted to change. Well, a lot of that travel did take him to the Colorado area, and that was one of the areas where he fell in love with craft beer. And after finding some like-minded people, both that he knew previously and just in the area, they decided a craft brewery was a good way of being able to provide a third place, a community space that to the Lake Norman area that at the time it had almost none of. So that was important to them to really be able to provide a bit of a community anchor and be able to reinvest in their community and take some of those lessons, some of the experience that he and the other investors had gained through their previous careers and bring it into this industry in a way that could really benefit Cornelius, Huntersville, Mooresville, Davidson, all of the Lake Norman area where they live and work.
Now, those stakeholders, they already lived and work here in Lake Norman? For
the most part, yeah, by and large.
You talked a little bit about the national recognitions. What do you consider your target market? The world?
Yeah, if we're really going to be humble about it, yeah. So right now we'll narrow it down. We'll just focus on the U.S. Although it must be said, we are the largest brewery in the United Arab Emirates, and that's not an exaggeration. So there you go. That's our big superlative. We're the fastest of the turtles.
How is that? How are you the fastest growing craft brewery in the Arab Emirates?
So we're actually fortunate enough. One of our partners, Side Hustle Brews, is out of the UAE originally, founded by a guy named Chad McGahee. He's an American expat over there. More than 50% of the population in the UAE are expats. So he and some of the other expats realized that the one big thing that they were missing living in the UAE was good beer. So he decided to do something about it and started a brewery and a distillery to be able to bring good beverages to that country. And we've been working with them to bring them stateside. They are setting up tap rooms in the Pennsylvania area, too, in Western Pennsylvania, opening before spring of next year. So we're helping get them throughout the U.S., but by the same token, we're also helping them produce some of their product because there are no actual physical breweries quite yet in the UAE, although their facility will be opening soon as well.
And how many states are you in?
Right now we're in 12 states, but that is growing fast. And we've also done shipments to Canada and the Netherlands as well. So definitely had some fun there.
Aaron, tell everybody where the tap room is located here in Cornelius.
Yeah, so the tap room here in Cornelius is located kind of right off of Samfur Road. So it's down in the area that's best known for its office parks. And we're also fortunate enough to have Ass Clown Brewing is also down there. Great people doing some really good stuff, and two of the first in the Lake Norman area. So it's not too hard to find if you know where to look. And at this point, I'd like to think most people in Lake Norman area know where to look.
What brought you on board?
Yeah, so I've been in the beer industry most of my adult life. I actually found out about this whole concept for Bevana from Andrew when he had a few too many drinks at the bar I was running at the time. But I was also a full-time marketing and sales consultant for the beer industry, and have been doing that for years. Continued to do that and work with him to flesh this out, but also bring the brands in, the partners that we work with on a daily basis. From a very early point. So I was able to really step on into that from being a freelancer into doing it full time, and then into senior leadership. And it's been a great ride. I tell people it's the best job I've ever had, the most stressful job I've ever had, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I think you've already touched on this, but I'm going to ask it again. What do you think sets apart your brands from any other competitors' brands?
Well, I think part of the point is nothing necessarily. And I say that because the goal of what we're trying to do isn't to knock anybody out of the race. It's to make a race that's a lot more fair to those who are running it. The craft beverage industry is incredibly lopsided, and it becomes more lopsided every year. We're seeing a lot more consolidation at the top, and the big guys, the Anheuser-Busch's, the Miller Coors, the Heinekens, even the Canarchies, the Oscar Blues of the world, the New Belgiums of the world. They throw a lot of weight around, and they throw it in ways that increasingly are taking up a lot of the ground that craft breweries, small artisan, neighborhood, community-focused businesses really had to play in. So really the reason that we're doing this is to be able to wedge that space open. And the partners that we work with, the model that we have, that's one piece of that, but we're focused even beyond that on just the craft industry in general, because I've got two little girls at home. My 3-year-old can identify the parts of a brew house. I'm not even exaggerating on that. She's been to 75 breweries by age 3. And I want there to still be a craft beverage industry that's as lively and as energized and as exciting and as innovative and as community focused when she's old enough to enjoy it as it is now. So, what we do is only a small part of why we are.
Right. Aaron, what community do you live in here at the lake?
I actually don't live by the lake. I live down in Fort Mill, but I spend way more time than I should be up by the lake, since that's where pretty much all of our leadership lives, works, and plays.
What do you think is the most attractive thing, looking from the Fort Mill perspective? What do you think is the most attractive thing, other than the craft beer industry we have here at the lake? What is the most attractive thing you think about when you think of Lake Norman?
Oh, for Lake Norman, for me, it is kind of a distillation of a lot of the things I love about Charlotte in general. One of the things I love about this area is it's a very optimistic place. And I say that because almost no one is from up here. Only a tiny handful are from the Lake Norman area. Most of them are transplants or halfbacks or migrants or what have you. But what that really does is it means that almost everybody who's in the Lake Norman area, they're there by choice, not just because they happen to be born there. Now, for me, that lends to an environment where everybody wants to be there. They've elected to be there. And by and large, it means that they're going to be making those investments and making those steps to really make it a better place and bring the things that they've learned and bring their own backgrounds and their own backstories into it to make it a incredibly diverse, exciting, and unique tapestry when it comes to a place to live. And I love that about it.
Craft beer has really taken off, particularly here at the lake. And the other thing that I've really seen taking off here at Lake Norman is some of the other breweries that are making, whether it's whiskey and bourbon or making vodka. It seems like a lot of that type of industry. What do you see for the future of the craft beer industry here at the lake, but in the Charlotte region?
Oh, I'd say we're all beverage companies now. That's one of the first and foremost, and we've leaned completely into that. I think, you know, alcohol, and especially the fermented alcohols in general, whether it's wine, whether it's beer, whether it's cider, whether it's seltzer, we have a lot more in common, particularly in the minds of consumers, than we do apart. So I think the biggest thing we're going to see is folks just leaning into that and realizing a couple of things. First and foremost, realizing that the taproom experience really needs to be about the experience. Our customers are everything, and you know, there's a lot of bars out there, a lot of restaurants out there, and I love bars and I love restaurants. There are customers too. But in the tap rooms, you really have to be able to make sure that from the moment somebody steps in that door to the moment that they leave, they're really having something that feels different, feels more powerful, and feels more engaging than if they just went to the local sports bar. And also, you're going to see just a lot more personalization. We've seen it on the non-alcoholic side of beverages for years. I mean, go to your typical grocery store. How many different types of Coke are there now, much less, you know, all the different types of sodas and kombuchas and seltzers and sparkling waters and you know, RTD coffee. It's proliferated so much out because people want to be able to have the thing that's right for them. And we're seeing the same thing happen on the alcoholic side. And I, for one, I applaud that. I think it's wonderful. I love to cook. I love to drink even beyond alcohol. I love coffee. I love tea. So, you know, I think it's wonderful to have more things for people to explore, and important things for the industry to just be able to realize that they need to keep up with that.
Sure. Aaron, about 4 years ago, D9 was our small business of the year. It was 4 or 5 years ago. Something y'all continue to grow, continue to expand, continue to make a huge impact in your industry. Congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to when you and I can grab a beer over at D9 and kind of celebrate your success.
No, I'd absolutely love that, Bill, and I'll make sure I let you know next time I'm up that way.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and I want to thank you, Aaron, for joining us today and being a part of this program around the lake, and look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great weekend, sir.
Hey, thank you. You as well. Awesome. Nice and easy.